Go, finally.
Some confusion about the link.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I didn't know we were going to have some new numbers. It took me a minute.
Okay,
How you doing?
I'm great.
Me too.
Yeah. So all ready for your Christmas carol?
Yeah, it'll be fun. I went to the play last night in Lewisburg with a couple women friends, like I was telling you about, and it was very good. We got to sit in the. I got to sit with another woman in the second row, so we were right on top of the stage, and 7 or 8 people did the whole play. They just changed costumes and voices and characters, and the staging was simple. They moved this in, and then something else became a table, and it was really well done. It was fun. So that's what I've done since I saw you. And how about you?
So today, I had a client. She is a very young girl, and
Mm-hmm.
mm, she interned with me, say before COVID, during COVID rather. And
Okay.
so we didn't see each other physically, but over Zoom and all, we did that. And she did a very good job of that. And after that, she has joined somewhere where she is dealing with sales, and she is doing great.
Mm.
But she kind of gets into several things at one time, and she doesn't know how to handle each one. So each of us get into such kind of entangled from some time or other, but she actually is very bad at that, because she gets emotionally into it too much. So she is not able to progress in her career despite her performance. So that is where I was counseling her, and there is this idea of getting married also is going on, and she is seeing 2 3 people proposals that has come through this
Wow.
matrimonial. And what happens in India is, uh, there are several stages, mm, with which this arranged marriages go. First, there is somebody else who will bring in the prospective groom and the bride together, and then the parents uh, go into that, then uh, several rounds of that, and then finally, nowadays, the boy and the girl get to see each other, and
Wow.
they also come to one place, spend 2 3 days under the guidance of their parents, of course, and that is what is happening right now.
Ooh.
So I was
So she has two or three prospective husbands.
uh,
Wow.
once he is going ahead, but this is in the last stage. But what I was counseling her was about her next job. So she didn't tell me that this also has come in this idea. I know this is this is her age to get married, but she had to tell me that because of this, she is not able to do certain other things that I wanted her to do. You
Yeah.
know that is a very peculiar aspect of this mid-career profession. This target segment that I handle. They
Mm-hmm.
actually very bad at just saying what is going on. That is the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her this is the first time I am hearing So how can I help if I don't know what is happening? So you can at least tell. And in between, I keep on messaging her. We can sit today for an hour or so. She always says, let us postpone it to some other day. Then I started asking her about updates, what is going on, the last assignment that I gave, what is happening over that. That also she didn't reply much.
Mm-hmm.
So today I called her at around 11, and she told that she was with something. So at 2 we finally decided to sit, and then at 1:45 she messaged me saying that we can sit finally at 3. So from 3
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 we sat down, and she told me all this is happening. So I say,
Mm-hmm.
unless you tell somewhere to somebody also, there are several other things going on in your career, and now this has come up, so it is bound to confuse anybody. But again,
Yeah.
if you don't let me know how things will progress. So she said, okay, if nothing would have happened, then I would have come to you. Well, by the time there can nothing can be done. If you come to me also, what can I do?
Sure.
And her last experience with the boy was not good, because
Mm.
when they came face to face, the boy actually said no, saying saying that this girl is overweight, little
Uh,
overweight. But she says she was much uh, slimmer then, and now she has gained some weight, so she is apprehensive that this boy may reject her.
hmm.
So I said, if he rejects, what can you do? It is better not rather than getting the rejection afterwards. It's
Yeah.
better the rejection happens right now. See, the girl also may find something which she doesn't like, because there is this discussion about not going ahead wholeheartedly. This feeling is there, both sides. So that means there
Okay.
is something which is not getting conveyed properly, or they are not comfortable. So
Mm-hmm.
rather than putting it under the carpet, let us accept that. And if you can do something about that, then do and get ahead. Otherwise, uh, both sides will find some pretext on which to reject this proposal. So why to
Mm-hmm.
take that heartache right now? Accept what is and then move ahead. So she felt a bit better. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That must be that must be tough when uh your parents, two sets of parents are involved, and then somebody somebody says that about your appearance, that it's that has to be hard to handle. uh it's such a personal thing, and but like you say, if you certainly don't want to you don't want to brush that under the rug and then get married and then have that be a problem from the very beginning. Wow. So this young girl is in her 20s, in her early 20s.
No, she is just crossed her 30. So she is
How
31.
31? She's 31.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is the right time to get married according to the situation right now in India. It doesn't
Oh.
matter even if somebody decides to get married at 40 or 42 or 43 or 49, doesn't matter. But there is pressure from everybody to get married at this particular age. This is the latest you can get married if you want to have children and all. So those kind of pressures. So uh,
Hmm.
it is just adding to your pressures
Yeah.
in addition to whatever you have already. So
Yeah.
She had an affair before, and also she had this boyfriend since say this went on for 5, 6 years, I think so. And then suddenly the boy got married. Uh,
Oh,
he came to her place. There was final thing about getting married, marriage and everything. And
uh-huh.
suddenly the boy sent this message that he is getting married to another girl. So
Oh my. Oh.
it so happened that I told her not to go with this boy since the beginning, since the time I knew. Because
Uh-huh.
from her whatever she was telling me, I knew the boy was not okay for her. And
Mm-hmm.
he didn't convey anything that he likes this girl. But somehow she got attached, and finally, despite me telling her that don't go for this because you will be always left halfway somewhere which you cannot handle, there will be bigger
Mm.
problems also. But luckily, I say luckily because the boy got married finally, and she is free now.
Yeah, yeah, really. Really. Did you have an arranged marriage by a matchmaker like that when you got married?
It was a very funny kind of situation because it was a family friend. My husband,
Oh.
husband's family was known to my family, and
Mm.
I was close to my mother-in-law first. Uh, because Satya Sai, this was again about a following. We both were very close because of our habits, and she liked to sit calmly, peacefully at one place and meditate. Same, I like. The food
Mm.
choices were very similar in her case, my case. We like the same kind of food, same kind of habits, same kind of everything. So
Mm.
what happened was uh, she had two, she had four sons. So out of that, the second one and the third one were in the marriageable age. And she asked whether I would be interested in getting married one of them. So I was 22 then. I didn't have much knowledge about that. I just
Mm.
wanted to be close to her because I liked her so much. So I said,
Yeah.
the elder one, I look at him as an elder brother, so I cannot get married to him. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
the younger one will be okay. So then both the families started talking. Although my parents were a little apprehensive, still they went ahead because they liked my husband a bit. So so that is how we got married, and
Mm.
then I started knowing. So it was what you see. It was like
Yeah.
see, I didn't understand much about marriage and all. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was everybody knew everybody. So mm, I didn't apprehend it thing. But this my husband was not with the family for some time because he was at Delhi that time. He was away
Mm.
from the family for certain years for his studies, and his career went on like say away from home. So maybe nobody knew what habits he had developed in between, and
Mm-hmm.
so nobody knew when he behaved in a certain way. Um, so that was it. Yeah. So it it brings a lot of problem when you know not.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So you were married to that man for how long?
So it was like oh uh, It was like how I didn't stay with him for the last 10 years or so. And before that, we were married for, say, 7 years and about 15 years.
Oh, so a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Mm.
And then you had your daughter with that man.
Yes. I have two daughters, so
Oh,
it was not a very pleasant kind of experience with me. Uh,
mm-hmm,
yes, but I couldn't comprehend why he, because I never expected anything from him. I never demanded anything for him. We never. I was okay with everything, but
mm-hmm,
what happened? Even if you are on your own, you don't. Then also you can have problems. And this was I decided to move on because I couldn't save anything. I was supporting the family. He was earning. He was an artist, so he was earning on and off. He was not actually supporting the family, but
mm-hmm.
that also I didn't mind. But I was not able to save anything. And
Yeah.
then when the children grew up, I asked what could we do with their education, because education is very expensive here. He
Mm-hmm,
said, whatever we have, they have to go along with it. So that I couldn't digest. I said, they don't deserve like that. Suppose
mm-hmm,
they wanted to go for any professional studies, then it would have cost me a lot of money. And yeah, so I didn't like that kind of thing. So then, what is the use staying together
mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
going through all this difficult? Because it was getting very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
was like a stupid thing to hang around, no, with so many years, despite there is nothing. So nobody actually nobody counseled me properly, and nobody actually brought him to the table to counsel also. So
mm-hmm,
there was no society to support me when
mm,
this was happening. Actually, when the marriage is done, the society says the girl has to accommodate somehow.
mm,
And this was a difficult situation. So that rule actually I was not able to handle also. So
yeah.
uh, yeah, that way I
So
feel
it was a tough time for you then, huh?
it was tough time for me since I had a very difficult childhood also. Um, as my mother was a schizophrenic, and somehow she didn't like me. Mm.
Mm,
So since then, it is, I think one leads to another thing. That is why I got very close to that lady, my mother-in-law. And I
mm-hmm,
thought it would be good if I get into that family. At least this way I'll be. So I looked for the mother always. So maybe that was the reason why I was okay with that marriage. And yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Is that mother-in-law still in your life, or she or not?
So she passed away in 1999.
Oh.
So she had a lot of intuition, and
Mm-hmm.
actually, as a lady, she was great. She was great, and but she didn't understand how to support me. And
Mm-hmm.
he couldn't say a thing to his son.
Yeah.
And the son also was not very, not a person who can understand things very easily, especially
Yeah.
when I was saying something. So my point he never understood. And then I also didn't talk much about what he was doing and how he was behaving and all. I only
Yeah.
told her. I only told her, and I said, if this is the way he is going ahead, then please don't expect me to be able to support anything that you say.
Yeah.
So she understood that, and it actually broke her heart also.
Yeah.
She was okay, but within 6 months of me saying this to her, she passed away. She was in a very terrible shape.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it hurt her, but nobody else would understand that.
Yeah.
And after she passed away, um, some people feel that she is around, uh,
Yeah.
in, including my husband. He also
Mm-hmm.
understood that mm, she was kind of around, and
Mm-hmm.
she is appearing, something like that. Then I couldn't see all those things. I can't feel that way, but then I kind of uh, did a conversation with her, and there is some food it is to be offered to the deceased soul, no? So
Mm-hmm.
that is some kind of ritual that we have. So i
Yeah.
I did that ritual. I said that you are gone, so please be peaceful, and you cannot do anything as except blessing the family. So
Yeah.
after that, nobody saw her again.
Mm.
So I think
So
that connect is
she
still, yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So that connect is still there. And after she passed away, after 6 years after the second one, the second son of her, he passed away.
Mm.
So during that time in 2006, I told the eldest was there, eldest, to somehow counsel my husband. Is You understand, right? So he is the eldest brother, so he can always counsel the younger brother. So he said
Mm-hmm.
he is very attached to you, so much so that he can't go from here, this place to that place. So he lived at I told you, na, there is this capital city we lived, and he lived. They all of them lived 200 kilometers away. So he was saying he cannot go for a day. Also, he is so attached to you. I said
Wow.
it is not attachment. It is just because nobody else asked him a question here. And
Mm-hmm.
if he goes to your place, then everybody will ask something which he cannot reply. That is why he doesn't go. But he didn't
Yeah.
understand that, and that is when I decided to move on in 2008. And
Mm-hmm.
then everybody could see what was happening. Then nobody
Yeah.
could have done anything. So the eldest one actually told to my elder sister, elder daughter, that you are the one who can take care of the family now, because the family is disintegrating, and nobody can hold the family together if you are not doing that. So he also passed away in 2010.
The eldest brother or your husband, your
No, no,
ex-husband.
the eldest brother passed away in 2010.
Okay.
My husband passed away in 2017.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a story.
Yeah. And from my experience, I know that young girls who get into all these kind of issues, they have to be very clear in the first place that what they want, and they have to make it clear to the groom's place also that you she is career oriented and she would have,
Yeah.
yeah, all these things have to be very clear.
Yeah.
Otherwise it leads to, there is no question of compromise these days.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to compromise within their own comfort zone. From that comfort zone only one can accommodate as much. So yeah,
Oh,
the same thing I was trying to tell this girl, that you are making a lot about nothing. It is actually a small thing. Just put things properly. If you don't like, you don't like. No
yeah.
question of adjustment or compromises and anything. If she knew that, then it will give her a lot of space to take a
Sure.
decision. So I told her, you have three things to do by March 2024. One is
Mm-hmm.
to get your recognition in this existing place right now. The second is to get transition to another job because he doesn't like this job. And the third is to get married.
Mm.
So all these three things you have to do within March. Now, do you have
Wow.
time for all this? So she was laughing. I said, you have only made these choices. We started with just one choice because you didn't like this job. So you have to transition. If you don't put your time into switching over to another job means the whole thing you need to know what can you offer. That also you need to be very clear. All those things, this requires some training, and that is why we got together. And now you are saying instead of just one, you have two more things. Now we have to have time for that and also the mindset for that. So
Yeah.
she was laughing, saying that no, 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 unless you say I won't get married. I say, what is kind of thing?
She trusts you and has turned over a lot of, um, not turned over, but she trusts you enough to give you a lot of power in her life.
Yeah,
But
only
it needs direction for sure.
yeah, yeah. So whatever, like say, it can be very easy if she the amount of trust she puts on me. Accordingly, she has to take those decisions as well and
Yeah.
those steps as well. And those are not very easy to take, but you cannot do anything about not entangling your life with so many things. If
Yeah.
you bring in your choices and your biases, your all those things, things only gets complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good luck between now and March.
Yeah. Yes,
She
yes.
has a she has a plan now. She just has to work the plan, right? Or change it once you see what's not working or whatever, huh?
Yeah. So I
Uh,
told her to get to take decisions according to her own convenience. She
mhm.
needs to take the decisions rather than anybody else taking those decisions on her behalf. So
Yeah.
if she is not that powerful, then everybody else will take some kind of decision according to them only. So that might not suit her. So that is what I was trying to tell her. So be very convinced about whatever decisions you are taking. Getting married to this boy, why? You need to know why.
Yeah.
Why you have accepted so many things that you objected to. still you accepted. There has to be some reason why. Then
Mhm.
all these things, yeah. Today I
I,
spoke about my story rather than your story. So, yeah.
yeah,
So
I
how,
think I think having somebody like you step back with her and point things out is very, very valuable because, when your heart takes over, your mind is not in operation many times. And if, if she trusts you enough to listen to what you're pointing out, that's going to be very valuable for her. So hopefully she pays attention to what you're trying to show her, because in the long run it will be to her advantage.
yeah. So I told her that every Sunday we are meeting at 2 and you will be updating me about what action step you have taken, what decisions
Mm-hmm.
you have made, so that we can evaluate from there. I accept whatever you say, but you have to do something, some groundwork.
Yeah.
You, yeah. So, Sophie, tell me about your experience, your first experience about marriage and how it.
Uh, I didn't date very much in high school.
Yeah.
Um, my mom and dad, because I was the first one and I was a girl, they sheltered me quite a bit. And so it wasn't until I got to college that I spent any time with men. But what was interesting, in you go to the school in the summertime with your parents for registration and to walk the campus and get used to it. And there was a dinner for all the parents and the students, prospective students. And don't you know, right across from my mother and father was John and his mother and father, right across from us. And he was handsome. He was a nice guy. I mean, he seemed like a nice man. And when I look back, he looked a lot like my dad. And so, uh, anyway, we had a good time that day. He was from Ohio also, not near Cleveland. He was from a town about 4 hours away, 3 or 4 hours away. So we didn't keep in touch over the summer or anything, but he was in my English class when I went back in the fall and started school. He was in my English class, and he was interested in me and I was interested in him. And uh, we started to date a little bit. We both joined a fraternity. He joined a fraternity, I joined a sorority, and there were parties on the weekends all the time. And we started going to these parties together. What I didn't know and what John didn't tell me was that he had a girlfriend back home all through high school, and he was still very attached to her. And I used to wonder, and I didn't find this out for a couple years, but I used to wonder why, when there was a formal dance or a special event, he never invited me. And I hadn't dated enough to realize what was going on. And so I think I was in my third year that I finally his fraternity brother started to call him Dirty Nick. His last name was Nichols, and they called him Dirty Nick because he had two girlfriends and I didn't know about it. And so finally, I think one of his fraternity brothers told me what was going on. And so I remember saying giving him the ultimatum. But by this time, I had spent several years with him there, and had become, I'd fallen in love with him. And so I said, you have to make a decision here. So in our third year of college, I guess, when I was a junior. I'm pretty sure I said that to him as in our third year together. And was either the end of the last end of this, yes. And so I guess he, gave her the boot. I don't know what he said to her or whatever, it doesn't matter. But I had met his parents in the meantime, and they were very nice. He was an only child, and I was the first of seven, so that should have been, a sign right there, that we had a lot of things, a lot of differences, and it wasn't, you know. So we got engaged in our third year of school. I can remember the little bench, on the campus. Anyway, we got engaged. I think it was our last year of the four. And then, so I got out of school in March of 70. Yeah, I got out of school a little early. And then in September of that year, we got married. And we both got really good, we both had good jobs. And we got jobs where he got a job selling pharmaceuticals. And he had a company car, and we bought a house pretty quickly. We had houses and cars before most of our friends, because we had good jobs. And then we got transferred from Ohio to Indiana. And we were together 10 years. And what I did not know how to do and never learned, because my parents were not good at this. I did not know how to communicate with him what I needed or what I wanted or what I disagreed with. And that caused the biggest issues for us, because I didn't know how to talk to him about what differences we had. We had differences in how to raise the kids, from because my background was more strict than his. And and it wasn't, he on the astrological side, he's my exact opposite. So I was born in October, he was born in April. And truly, had we had more guidance, or yeah. So by this time I was working at Ford Motor, and I changed quickly. And I, just like now, I was taking classes, and we did a lot of things together. We traveled with his mom and dad together. His parents were always very nice to me. They're both passed now, but I enjoyed them the whole time I was married to John. We traveled to his hometown a lot when we were married, and his parents came to our place quite a bit. And when we made the announcement after 10 years that we were getting divorced, everybody was flabbergasted because they couldn't believe it. Like, how is this possible? John and Carol are such a good match. What they didn't know was that John and Carol couldn't talk to one another about important stuff. We were really good partners as far as work goes and raising the kids. We had our differences in how we did it, but we basically did it okay. Our biggest issue was a sexual issue. We could not talk about, I could not talk about what worked and what didn't work for me, because I had never dated many men. We didn't have sex before we got married, and I had no counseling from anybody, because my mother didn't ever want to deal with that. And I didn't have girlfriends